What's correct, like, and it's your boy Brushmo, just in case you did not know. So back again for another season preview. We're going over the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to take a look at the roster, the schedule, give you my projected starters, as well as a prediction on how the team will fare this season. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe, leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, share the video if you like, and yeah, all of that is much appreciated, much obliged, as well as season previews, man. They're coming out every day. Pumping them out for you. Top of that, there will be we'll look into it. Maybe some Madden content, maybe some fantasy content, fantasy football content. I'm not positive yet. Still kind of like looking at it and kind of evaluating because there's a lot of different variables. So it's kind of wild from there. But I'm hoping NCAA content eventually too. That would be extremely fun for me. But at the end of this series, we're gonna have a playoff video, basically who I had going to the playoffs and how they fared in the playoffs, as well as after that a mock draft based on these based on these predictions, these stand-ins. So that ought to be a time and a half. But let's go ahead, let's dive in. Dallas Cowboys, they got some interesting things going on. So let's start with Dak, man, because he's a very interesting case. Because I think it was reported. Let me check. The last offer on Dak was it was like 175, 5 years, 175 million. Dude, oh. And that's wild. That's wild. That just, I mean, that is just theorized. So, but it would make him the second highest paying quarterback in the league. Is he worth that? I won't want to pay him that. I'll say, hey, yeah, he may be a top 10, top 12 quarterback in the league, but he ain't worth that. To me, that's my opinion. Will they get a contract done? More than likely, they will. If you're asking for my opinion, but yeah, with all that in the air, there's still a lot of question marks with, okay, if Dak's not the guy that they're going to move forward with, then who is? Andy Dalton? No, it'll probably be someone they draft next season. So that's very interesting. I'll be intrigued to see if that plays any role on the season this year, but we'll see. But Ezekiel Elliott, the dude's a monster. He's going to be the starter there. Tony Pollard, though, provides very interesting. He's very interesting as a backup. Come in and he played extremely well last year when Zeke couldn't. And at receiver, they just got playmakers, yo. I mean, Amari Cooper, he is one of the better receivers in all of football. Michael Gallup was very solid, plagued by a few drops last year, but CD freaking Lamb. The dude, he was one of the best receivers after the catch when lined up in the slot. The dude's just explosive. He's got good size. So a guy that they can line up on the outside, they can line up in the slot, gives them some good versatility. Blake Jarwin actually played pretty well in spurts last year, so them giving him a deal they could get out after year 2 with him, or after the second year of the contract, I think is fine. See what this guy can do. He's actually pretty good at stretching the field, so I thought that was solid. And then looking at the stinking line, it's still good. Iren Smith, he's declining, he's still an above average tackle in the league. La'el Collins actually put up a career year last year. It was a banger of a season. He proved to be very good. I think he may have gone into elite status, and we already know Zach Martin is elite. Connor Williams was the weakest part of that offensive line last season, but not by much. He was still average, so I'm still cool with that. I mean, Connor McGovern's there as well, so you got a little competition. Not much, but they got I don't like that. They got Joe Looney penciled in to start. He saw like little or no snaps. Like I think it was a little less than 100, and he didn't do well in them. Like he didn't do well. So Tyler Biotish, I thought was an excellent pick. They got extremely good value, and he, for all intents and purposes, should be penciled in as the starter. There's not much depth on this line outside of McGovern and Cameron Irvin. That's about it. So overall, though, this offense looks like it should be explosive. I mean, it's going to be, they have probably one of the best receiving cores in football, so it'll be very fun to watch. I'm very excited. I love Kellen Moore, so I'm very, very excited to see that. And then looking at the defense, question here is who will start opposite of DeMarcus Lawrence, and there's a bevy of names. It looks like it probably might be, I still think he's still waiting to get reinstated completely, is Alden Smith, which is very exciting. They signed a 1-year deal. Very low risk, very high reward, because this guy was unstoppable, but obviously just character concerns and just getting into trouble really cost him a lot of his career. So that'll be interesting. Randy Gregory, another guy that from a physical and athletic upside provides a lot, just hasn't been really on the field because of off-field trouble. So those are two guys that'll probably go at it. You got Bradley and Nay, but I think he actually fits better for now as a rotation guy. The guy's a technician, but athletically not off the charts. And then who I'm going to probably pencil in the start is Tyrone Crawford, who is actually, when healthy, has been very, very good. So I love the options. On the defensive interior, they improved, I think, quite a bit. They got two really good two-down guys in Poe and McCoy. I love Gerald McCoy, but he is on the downsled of his career. I don't think Poe provides much of anything outside of, because even last year he kind of took a step back, but he's more of a two-down guy. Adding Neville Gallimore was phenomenal. A guy that can play zero tech, he can play three tech. In this offense, you're probably going to be more of a gap or B gap defender. So either way, he fits. He's very athletic for his size. I like it a lot. Antoine Woods, while not spectacular, he's been proven to be reliable. Tristan Hill, will we see it from him? I don't know. It was a rough rookie season. At linebacker, as long like Jalen Smith was very good last year. Sean Lee, when he had to come step in, still good, but you got to remember age, that's still a thing. I really like them drafting Francis Bernard, a guy he was probably one of the oldest guys in this class, and a guy that probably doesn't have much of a ceiling, but where he's at right now is definitely a starter level linebacker. He was a playmaker. Athletically, he's pretty good. So still a lot to like there. But Van Der Esch, last year, really his season was kind of it was underwhelming because of injury. The guy got hurt. He couldn't get healthy, and it really cost him last year. He should come back, and I expect him to look like the monster he was his rookie season. And secondary, this is where all the question marks, I guess all the question marks, because they lost their best corner in Byron Jones. So I fully expect Awuzie to come in and step in and be that, because he was actually, his snaps, I think he had the most snaps last season of anybody. He had the most snaps of anybody, and that includes Byron Jones, but Byron Jones also missed a game. So I expect him to come in. He played actually very well. He was very good. They have Anthony Brown penciled as the other starter. I have my doubts. I have my reservations. I think he is he's maybe competing for the slot position. I think he's more of their cornerback 4. Because Jordan Lewis, actually, he's played a bulk of his career in the slot, and he's actually been above average. So I think he's going to win out against Anthony Brown. They gave him the 3 years, $15 million. I thought that was intriguing, but I think at the end of the day, he's still going to be the cornerback 4 here. Best believe Trevon Diggs is going to see some playing time, probably at the corner 2, maybe even the corner 1. But he provides very intriguing athleticism for maybe an off zone or a press zone corner. So I like that. He was one of the better deep ball guys for Alabama. So there's a lot to still be confident about in the secondary. And I think still at safety, because Xavier Woods is one of the most underrated safeties, I think, in the league. People sleep on him, but he is a very, very good starter. And then Clinton Dix, he actually played particularly well last year. Proved he could be much more than just a box guy. So I like that. I like their secondary still a lot. Reggie Robinson they brought in the draft, but he's a project, a guy that's athletically amazing, but technique-wise still needs to learn a few things. So the defense, I think, is still dominant. This team is still going to be competing for the NFC East. What's getting in their way? Well, on top of, everything going on with Dak, is a tough schedule. It's a very, very tough schedule. Just looking at it, you got to face off against the NFC West. That sucks. I mean, that sucks. What is it that? No, it's the NFC. No, it's the NFC West. Yeah, the NFC West. I couldn't find the Cardinals on here, so I was like, oh, maybe I got that wrong. But they got to face the NFC West. Very tough. You're facing the former Super Bowl champion, or you're facing the team that almost won the Super Bowl. They competed in the Super Bowl. They got the Super Bowl participation award. But you also got a much improved Arizona team. You got a Los Angeles Rams team that they will be competitive, I think, this year, even despite, having to figure out what to do with salary cap. That's a team still with a ton of talent. And the Seahawks, they're always good, no matter what. They're just always good. And on top of that, they're going to be facing Atlanta for one of their other games. That's a tough game. Don't sleep on Atlanta. Atlanta, when they're rolling on all cylinders, then dangerous team. Keep in mind, they beat the Niners last season in San Fran. So don't sleep on Matt Ryan. But then they got to go to the AFC North, and they got to face a Browns team that has a big hump on their back after underperforming last season. A Steelers team that is most likely going to have Big Ben. Keep in mind, this is a team that would stay competitive with the likes of Mason Rudolph and Duck Dynasty Hodges. So Big Ben is going to make that team much, much better. And of course, you got the Baltimore freaking Ravens. That's a scary team to play at any point. Who were very good last year. And then the Bengals, don't sleep on Joe Burrow. Don't sleep on Joe Burrow. What he can do with that team, just saying. And you're facing them week 14. By that time, they will have some things figured out. As far as in conference, yeah, you don't have to worry too much about the Giants and the Redskins. But the thing with division play is division teams typically play each other fairly well. So that's still, you don't want to sleep on the Redskins or the Giants, especially the Giants. Giants are going to be a much better team this year. Then there's the Eagles. The Eagles they're going to be tough. Carson Wentz, as long as he can stay healthy, it's going to be a tough order, just because the Eagles are one of the better teams, one of the more complete teams in the NFL. Secondary will be improved. So, yeah, man, with that bye and they got to come back, face Minnesota. Oh, jeez. Like, that's another team. Like, you might be like, oh, look at their secondary. The secondary is trash. Yeah, but Kirk Cousins was still really good last year. He had the best QB rating in the fourth quarter. Dalvin Cook is, guess what? Still a beast. And that front line for the Vikings is still pretty daunting, especially with Danielle Hunter. So I won't sleep too much on them. But let's just go ahead. Let's get into the starters, and then I'll let you know how I think they'll do this year. So starters, God willing, be Dak Prescott. So we got Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, of course, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and then I put CeeDee Lamb at slot because, like I said, he did play a lot of that in college. Blake Jarwin's going to be there as the tight end. And then I think Tyrone Smith, Zach Martin, and Leo Collins, they're all kind of guaranteed their roles there. I think Connor Williams will end up being the starter again. And I think Tyler Biotish, it's really his job to lose, I think. I think he's much better than Looney. And then looking at the defense, I actually went ahead and put Tyrone Crawford. If he stays healthy, you'll probably see a bulk of the snaps. Just while everything's pending with Smith and Gregory, that I just kind of wanted to wait and see what goes on with that. I put McCoy and Poe there. I think you're gonna have like a rotation of 4 or 5 guys there on the interior, so that'll be very interesting. Van Der Esch, Smith, one of the better linebacker duos, probably one of the best linebacker duos in the NFL. Then I got Woozie and Diggs as your outside corners with Lewis in there at the slot, Xavier Woods, Clinton Dix there in the secondary. Defense still looks very good. So here comes the bad news. When doing my playoff when doing my predictions, I do it on playoff predictors. You could go week by week. That way you could kind of anticipate how the season flow is going. Maybe if a team's already like ready for a bye so they don't play their starters. Stuff like that, or who you anticipate to come in and start. Like with the Dolphins, I kind of anticipate him to be in after week 10. So you're kind of seeing a different team at that point. I was doing this, and I'm going to preface this with, this is a not particularly easy schedule. I got them making the playoffs. Don't fret, Cowboys fans. I got them making the playoffs. But this is the part where you freak out, because I got them at 9-7. And that might seem, I think that is probably 8-8, 9-7 might be it's probably their floor. I don't know how, but I ended up being, I guess, real low on them this year just because, again, there's some tough games, man. Atlanta, Seattle, Cleveland. Arizona's not a gimme anymore. Philadelphia twice. Steelers. Vikings aren't a gimme. Baltimore, San Fran. It's just, there's a lot of tough games. And the thing with the Cowboys, let me actually pull this up real quick. The Cowboys last season, right? While you might be like, well, they were so good last season. I mean, how can you anticipate such a thing? Well, they were an 8-8 team, so get off me on that. It's not like they were unbelievable. But let's look at where their wins came from. Because they started the season real hot. I remember Dak was on one of my fantasy squads. Yeah, the Giants, the Redskins, and the Dolphins. Probably the worst teams in the league at that point. Then they rattled off 3 losses. Saints was a close one. Packers were a close one. And then they lost close one to the Jets. The Jets exactly weren't. They were probably an average, below average team last year. And then they got a big win against Philly. Big win against the Giants. So with that Philly win, like I said, division teams, they play each other very, very well. So benefit of the doubt, they lost to the Vikings, lost to the Patriots, lost to the Bills, lost to the Bears, lost to the Eagles when it mattered. They had a good win against the Rams. Like, their wins last year were against subpar teams that couldn't make the playoffs. The Eagles, I think, were the only playoff team they beat. Yeah, the Eagles were the only playoff team they beat last season. That is the basis of 9-7. If anything, I might be over projecting at this point because I think the team got. That's not true. That's not true. This team could very easily win 10 or 11 games, but I feel like I'm right there in the median. I'm right there in the middle. 9-7, very possible. They're still making the playoffs. Don't hate. That's what I got to say. But that's it for the video. Go ahead and do the YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated, much obliged. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later. What is that?